Hey guys, what's up? This is Ellie, World Class Adventure, and today I'm here with another video. So recently some people have asked me some questions because of my last video about why I don't like American guys and the one about China, but I haven't made a video about Japan. I wrote about Japan, but I didn't make any videos about Japan, so I would like to talk about it a bit. Um, when I was in Japan, I want to say that it was the most beautiful herp derp. I can't talk today. The most, blah. One of the most tragically beautiful experiences of my life. There we go. Um, because I know that I talked about like my work there and I blogged about that a bit, but I haven't really talked about like anything like in particular about like socially like what it was like compared to China. So I'd like to take an opportunity to just talk about daily life in Japan excluding the working factor because I already talked all about that. So Tokyo versus Shanghai, because I only lived in Tokyo while I was in Japan. I went to Osaka for about a couple weeks, but that doesn't count, right? So yeah, Tokyo is an amazing city. It is fabulous. I love shopping in Tokyo. There's so much great shopping, and a lot of it's really affordable and amazing. I bought this shirt in a store in Tokyo called Modoff. It's a secondhand shop. Can't really see it, but here it is. It's so cute, right? Japanese clothes are so cute and so cheap. I mean, it was literally 500 yen. You can't beat that. Try finding clothes for that price in China that look as good. No offense, I still love you, China. So yeah, definitely buying clothes in Japan was amazing. Another thing that I liked about daily life in Japan was simply the convenience of a lot of things. The only thing I found particularly inconvenient was after all the time I spent in China, having to pay cash for everything. I don't like carrying cash because I think it's a little bit unsafe. And nowadays, with more and more people traveling around the world and more foreigners migrating to Asia, particularly Tokyo, I don't necessarily feel safe having large amounts of cash on me. But it is a requirement to live in Japan. Almost everything is cash only. Cash this, cash that. Whereas, like in China, like everything is WeChat and Alipay, right? So that was a thing. Um, Another thing about just daily life that I found kind of interesting were the bars, right? So I used to go out to Roppongi for fun, like my first couple months in Japan, because I wanted to party out there and everything. And what's nice is if you're a girl, you don't have to pay to get into some of the bars unless it's a Friday or Saturday and it's super busy, right? So that's cool. And of course, like the bars themselves will give you free drinks, so you don't have to ask for guys because it's like a promotional thing. So like if you're a girl, you can go into the bar and they'll just give you like I think one or two free drinks depending on the bar, and you can just dance the night away. What I would do is I would just go to the 7-Eleven and buy beer pregame, and then get free drinks at the bar, and then I would never have to ask guys to buy me drinks, and I felt kind of relaxed, so that was cool. Um, but Roppongi can also be dangerous. Like there's a lot of Nigerians there, and like they're pushing, like always pushing you to come into this bar, come see this thing, blah blah blah. I wish I had more to say about daily life in Japan because I feel like mostly all I did was work. And when I wasn't working, I was really depressed because everyone else was working and I wasn't, and I couldn't find a job in the end. But I want to tell, I guess I want to tell a little story about my time in Ginza. So when I got off of work one night in Ginza, I was in a dark street. I was on a dark street by myself. I was wearing like a skirt and like a top because in Asia you don't have to really worry too much about how you're dressed as a female outside, right? So I did that, and there was a Japanese man, very young and definitely not unattractive. He like stood in front of me blocking my path, and I tried to walk around him and he kept like blocking me from walking around him. And then I tried to burst past him, like run really fast, and then he was like blocking me like no, you cannot pass. So I was like, shit, what am I going to do? And so I thought, man, this guy is gonna rape me or something. I was really scared. And that's not funny. I'm not laughing about that. I'm laughing because in the end, he just wanted a foreign girl to hang out for karaoke. That's it. They just took me into a KTV room and asked me to sing some songs and then let me go home. That was weird and bizarre. One of those only in Japan moments, right? I mean, I'm kind of happy at least I wasn't molested that time. And the other thing is, like, yeah, just a lot of weird and kooky and delightful things like that happened to me in Japan. And then there were some also very dark things, and I'll make a separate video about, the darkest and most horrible thing that happened to me while I was in Japan. But I want to try to keep this video a bit more lighthearted, right? Because I've been doing way too much serious stuff, and I just want to keep it cool. So, yeah, pros about Japan in a nutshell: good shopping and cheap, lots of thrift shops. There are no thrift shops in Shanghai, as far as I know, or there could be, but they're not as prevalent as Japan. And the cost of clothing is definitely higher in China than in Japan. You can get good quality clothes in Japan for very cheap, which I love. Another thing is, besides the shopping, the nightlife is pretty decent. Especially if you're a girl, you don't really have to spend a lot of money, and you don't have to ask guys to buy your drinks. So there's not really much pressure if you want to go out and party to take some stress off, right? Because the whole point of going out to party is like to relieve some stress. So that's another plus. Cons: if you're a female, like sometimes it does feel a bit unsafe. There's a lot of chikan, which is like the Japanese word for like a pervert molester kind of person on the train. And there's a lot of like weird guys that are really horny all the time for some reason, and will like try all kinds of weird things, right? And you just have to be vigilant. I mean, that's the same anywhere, right? It doesn't matter what country you're in, you have to be, I guess, vigilant if you're a female in that respect, right? I mean, men should be vigilant too. Like, I mean, about their wallets and stuff and making sure that they don't get robbed and all that good shit, right? Um, so yeah, I would definitely recommend traveling in Japan. Um, Traveling was amazing. Tokyo was an amazing place for shopping and entertainment. Going out into the Japanese countryside, going out to Osaka for even more goodies is, I definitely recommend Osaka as a city. I wish I could have gone to more places, but like I said, I was super broke in Japan. Um, my last day I didn't even have enough money to buy myself a sandwich to eat, so I didn't eat for like 48 hours. I just drank a shit ton of water because I was so broke. I actually had to ask my friend in China to buy me a plane ticket back to Shanghai. And I kind of never want to be in that situation again, so I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that that never happens again. Like, I'm working super hard to try to build some skills and do some things that I need to do to keep my position in China, and later on, to make sure that later on, if I want to go somewhere else, it will be easy for me to have the kind of international career that I want to have. So again, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about simple daily life things in Japan versus China, let me know. There is a link to my blog in the description. You can read about the work-related stuff. I'm not really going to talk about that in videos because it's quite long and depressing, and I don't really like to make a lot of depressing videos, right? I'm trying to be here for your entertainment. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. And now it is time for me to go to bed. Peace out, bitches. Mwah.